Hi.
Hi. How
Welcome
are we?
to We'll Sleep When We're Dead intro.
Intro of an amazing, amazing guest. My
Seriously.
gosh.
I
I feel like we keep just hitting home runs with each of these people that we have on.
100%. And the more we do this, the more we get guests that I don't know at all. Like our first,
Yeah.
7 to 10 guests were kind of like our people. And so it's
Yeah.
also so fun because I kind of go into these like with my little research but blindly, and
Yeah.
it's just like so pleasantly surprised all the time.
There's a lot of baddies. There's just like a
Right.
lot of women baddies out
And this
here
was
doing a
one of
lot of cool things.
yeah, this was one of
Oh my gosh. I have found myself also recently being like, and I'm not doing it. I'm being very genuine. I'm not doing it in a self serving way, but I am so inspired by all of the things that we're hearing from people. I'm like, I hate to say this, but I do have a podcast, and this person that was on the podcast said, da 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 da.
100%.
And it
100%.
sounds so self serving, but like the one we recorded last
Yep.
week or this week. I don't know who it was, but literally someone repeated back to me a behavior that their child did that we spoke specifically to this woman about, who was very, very knowledgeable. And I was like, what was the term that she used? And I was like,
Yeah.
well, it'll be coming out in a few weeks. And I'm like, this is so embarrassing that I'm saying this. But on the flip side, I'm like, it's not, because we're learning so many
So
amazing
much.
things
And this is why
from
we're
these
doing it.
amazing women. So, anyways, all this to say, we have
It's on the
another.
pod, Luce.
Who's on the pod? Just stop it, Luce. Denise Woodard is the founder and CEO of Partake Foods, which, if you guys haven't had any of their products, you're going to want to go have them because she's amazing. B, you're going to want to have them because they are delicious. They're incredible. They are such a good product to have if you have friends and kids with allergies. They are like completely allergen safe. So Partake Foods, Denise Woodard. Denise, I mean, she speaks to so many amazing things, but I feel like you always hear like anecdotally, like, oh yeah, that person started their company by selling things out of their trunk of their car. But that's like her legit actual story.
Yeah.
Like it's just, she just hustled till she's gotten to where she is now. And just the integration of bringing this product and this brand to life truly because she's solving a need as a mom is like the coolest thing for me. So her story was incredible. She was so gracious to come on. I mean, I messaged her months and months ago when we got this started. I mean, Sam can attest. She was like one of the first people that I thought of when we thought of this podcast. I was like, Denise would be amazing. So, anyways, what was your experience and takeaway from it?
Well, not to be like a big hyperbole, but I will say I think she said one of the probably top 3 coolest things I've ever heard on our podcast. And you'll know, I bet people will know what I'm talking about after they hear it. I just think she was so well spoken. She was so like eloquent. She was so like chill. She just was like
So chill.
but so smart and so hardworking.
Yes.
And she had so many good tips for us as like new. I'm not in that space, so I don't know a lot. I just like learn by like take the food out of it. I like just think of like, how did you start something?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just found her so like, I kind of want to talk to her a lot. She like calms me
know.
down, but she gives me a
know.
lot of hope because she's just crushing it. But yeah,
Yes.
I'm interested to see after you guys listen if you know what I'm talking about. But something she did with her company, I think, is like one of the coolest things.
Oh, it's like a
we've
little
heard-
breadcrumb. It's a little
Yeah.
breadcrumb heading into the
One of the
episode.
coolest things that I've ever heard a founder do. So,
Amazing. Well, Denise, thank you so
Yes.
much. Thank you so much for your time, for your energy, for being on with us. We had an absolute blast, and I know you guys are going to really enjoy the conversation. So enjoy.
Bye. Hello, hello, and welcome to We'll Sleep When We're Dead. We are so excited to have another amazing founder, mom, CEO, boss lady, lots of different hats on the pod with us today. Denise Woodard, thank you so much for being here.
I'm so happy to be here with you both.
I am so
Thank
excited.
you.
So Denise and I've been trying to get Denise on the pod for a while. So this feels like a huge win to have her on here. It's so funny when Sam and I started putting together our dream list of guests. My
list was obviously very concentrated with so many amazing women within my like CPG bubble. And you were one of the ones that came to the
feel
top.
honored.
Yes. And I was literally like, I've got to get Denise on here. And you were one of the first people that I reached out to. So I'm so grateful to have you here. And I'm so excited because we've kind of ships in the night. We've connected a couple times over the last 6-ish years, but I'm excited to hear more kind of personally about your journey and your motherhood journey and building an amazing company. So thank you so much for being here. So I think we'll just start. We always like talking about the journey. And I think the thing about your story that's so cool to me is like so much of what you've done at Partake has been informed by your experience as a mom. And so I'm just curious if maybe you want to kind of take us through what got you to where you are today.
Sure. So I spent my career initially in corporate America. I was at Coca-Cola for about a decade and I worked on emerging brands there. And I was working on all of these amazing mission-driven brands like Honest Tea and Zico coconut water. And I thought I would never leave. My plan was to work my way up the corporate ladder. And then my daughter Vivian came along and she's 11 now. But right around her first birthday, we learned that she had a bunch of food allergies, which was like so foreign to me because I eat all the things, as does my husband. And we had a really scary incident, which really brought home for me that like food allergies were going to be a part of our life for the foreseeable future. And Partake was really born out of kind of one of those classic, like, if you can't find it, build it stories. Famous last words. I thought I knew enough about CPG acronyms to be dangerous, but I did not know anything about actually building a business. But here we are.
My gosh, that's incredible. Denny, I'm so curious specifically about the allergy piece because we have a lot of friends with kids with very severe allergies. And I think we have a food allergy in our family, but it's not anaphylactic. And so it's like less scary. But I go out to dinner or see these kids at birthday parties and things like, you know, can they have the piece of cake that's being given them? Or things like that are like really fraught with like concern and care. I'm just so curious, like, how did that, outside of building the company, for parents of allergy kids who are probably listening, like, what was that experience like trying to understand it and figure out like what even was going to work for your family going forward?
Sure. I think I probably already have like a decently high baseline of anxiety and it just took it up a notch.
Same.
It was same. You don't think about all the times you eat until you have to think about all the times you eat.
Yes.
And it was like one of those birthday party moments, like you mentioned, Lucy. I remember Vivian was a little over, she must have been 2. And we had this fabulous weekend and we were like chit-chatting before bedtime. And I was like, what'd you think about the weekend? Maybe she was 3. And she just started weeping. And she was like, I couldn't have the cupcakes at Teddy's birthday party. And it's like little moments that like I take for granted because I was able to participate in always, where you're always othered. And, you know, I get it. Like life is challenging and like in the scope of things, like this is something that's manageable, but it's also something that like you're constantly reminded that you're different. You're constantly on high alert of, am I safe? Like we lived in New York at the time. We had access to the best grocery stores. We could find all the things. I worked in food and beverage, so I knew lots of hot brands. And I was still having a hard time finding brands that I felt really good about, that I could trust.
Yeah.
And so that's where the company came from. And yeah, the food allergy journey, I think it's just something that becomes a part of your everyday life. And I think for me, community, whether it be like from the founder community and building this business, but also the food allergy community, my mom community, it's like I just found my people who had experienced this before, who were further down the path and then made a commitment to like newly minted food allergy parents to try to help them, because it can be kind of confusing and scary and lonely, just like so many other journeys of life.
Yeah. What about school? How have you handled that? What maybe advice could you give to parents that were entering school age kids? We have school age kids, and I think a lot of our listeners do, or even like preschool. Like, how did you navigate your anxiety with letting your child go to school with these allergies and trusting that all of that would happen? You know, because we all have those kids now that I was a teacher, so I understand the severity of it because I had multiple people with peanut allergies, and the parents would literally be like, no, like you're not even allowed to have Reese peanut butter cups in your classroom. Like, please no, just have like Skittles or Starburst. So I can relate to it in that sense. But also on the flip side, as a parent,
like school is such a unknown and it's like such a lack of control once they're there. So how did you kind of manage that? And just any advice really quickly for people that are listening that maybe have kids with allergies and sending them off to school and just saying, I hope for the best.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten easier as she's gotten older. I think if there's any silver lining in having food allergies for a kid is like she's learned to advocate for herself. Like she's like, this is not safe for my body. I'm not doing this. I don't want that. I can't have that. And so like, I think she's much more aware now. But when she was younger, I think the whole like squeaky wheel thing, like I would feel so much like embarrassment of like, I don't want to be that annoying mom, but it's literally a matter of like my child's life and death. And so like, I'm going to speak up and I'm going to be very clear and I'm not going to leave until I understand all the protocols. And so like, it's kind of uncomfortable. And I think it's like one of those, for me, it was like a muscle I had to learn. And it's weird how there's so many parallels between whatever the challenge is in your life, between like building a business. Like I think one of the hardest challenges for me was just like learning to ask for help and learning to speak up for myself. It was the same on the food allergy journey. I just had to get real comfortable, like saying, this is what we need. This is what our requirements are. And I think it made me much more empathetic to all the differences that other kids could have too. Cause I think I had lived in this bubble where like I was fortunate enough to not have a lot of those experiences personally growing up. And then I saw that like there's so many ways that somebody can be differently abled, but also like not appear so.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And I feel like I want to like really think about that because I think that's very true. I feel like we're starting to be in that stage where we're trying to teach our kids about, you know, other people are different and people have different abilities and whatnot. And that's a really hard concept to teach. So, wow.
I think it's easier to teach to kids than adults sometimes is what I've learned.
That is so true. Wow.
Yeah. My daughter wants out to dinner. It's funny what kids pick up on without telling them, like your story seemed to be very severe, but I don't think I'd ever told my daughter that she's allergic to amoxicillin. But every time you go to the doctor's office or not, just like a sick visit, right? They always like, any allergies? And my daughter, my oldest one, is like very aware of what I'm saying, but I had never said to her like, Isla, you are allergic. And so she had heard it over in doctor's offices. And then a couple of years ago, we were out to dinner. I think she was like 5. And the waiter wasn't talking to her, was talking to the table like, oh, are there any allergies? And she goes, I'm allergic to amoxicillin.
See?
And it was
always
so
listening.
Cute. Yeah, the waiter was like, that's amazing. But like, it was just how much they catch up on. So like, they're so aware of other children's in the classroom of like and even if it is simply like just hearing a little girl say over and over, I can't have peanuts. It's amazing what they actually do catch up on.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to me. I've been like, it's been so heartwarming also to see how much, to your point, like other kids are so empathetic. And like, I remember like for Halloween, like friends would bring like, and we wouldn't ask, but like her friend would be like, well, I asked my mom to buy this special thing because I know you can't have the thing. And I was like, be still my heart. Like kids are so sweet.
They're so sweet. And Partake is perfect for her. So the next time that you need to bring something over, you can go ahead and go
I got
pick that
something.
up.
I know.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so Denise, those early days, the whole reason we started this podcast with this name is because sleep was at a minimum and still is. What do the early days of a founder journey look like with a young child? You're trying to build a business. Like how did you manage it? How were you getting through each day?
Not a lot of sleep. I've definitely gotten better on the sleep part. I feel like in my older age, I got to have my 7 to 8 hours now, but that was not the case before. Like I was working my full-time job for a year while I was working on building Partake. I was starting every day at 5 a.m., working on Partake before like my Coca-Cola job, working on Partake until like midnight. And then in the early years, once I left Coke to build the business, like I remember we got an eviction notice one time because they were like, you're running a business out of your apartment. You're shipping so many boxes. Like, what are you doing? And like I would be up until the wee hours of the morning, like taping boxes up. And so it's exhausting. And I feel like there's like all these, like, I don't want to call them buzzwords because I think they're important and people talk about how important self-care is and all of this. And I agree with that. And also for me, the reality of like building in the early days was like, it was 7 days a week, not a day off. Like I remember being at a Super Bowl party with friends and having my laptop of like, I got to submit this category review and I'm the only person who works at this company. And so like, it's just like, I think you have to be willing to make sacrifices to be able to build anything special.
What did that look like then at home life, like with a little daughter? Like, how did you, I mean, I agree with this. So many people we've spoken with, especially founders, are like, sacrifices, boundary, like everything, but at the same
Trade-offs.
time, trade-offs. Like it's wonderful to hear everybody's different stories, but it's obviously like there are some clear themes throughout people's success. And I think it's okay to just acknowledge like there were days when I wasn't getting sleep, but I also might not have been paying attention to my daughter as much as I would have wanted. So what did that look like? Like, did you have a bit more help, or were you really like sometimes with your daughter sitting on your lap doing it all? Because she was only one, right, when you started?
She was one when we started, and thankfully, like, we had a nanny who was with our family from whenever I came back from maternity leave all the way to COVID till she went to kindergarten. And she was like, she actually has equity in the business because she was a big part of the reason that I started the company. She was like, you're helping all these other people, men, no offense, to build these businesses. And then you have this daughter who has this challenge that you say you want to fix, like, do something. And she came, she would come home with like all these ingredients and be like, we're going to make a company. And so, dear Martha, who is still like family to us, I gave equity in the business too, because I was like, I don't know that I would have like, she gave me such a kick in the butt to like actually do something about it. So we had Martha who was willing to help us. There's also, I have so many pictures in my camera roll of like my daughter at trade shows and like her stroller in like a car seat. And like, she just like had to come along as part of the business for so many years. And, you know, I'm a solo founder, but also I feel like your whole family has to like sign up for this journey. And so my husband, Jeremy, at the time was working in finance. He is an entrepreneur now too, but like he would show up with like his shirt and tie to some like grocery store and like with a Partake t-shirt and be like, okay, time to do a demo. It just like, we would literally drive around with a demo table in the back of our car and be like, oh, okay, cookies aren't moving at this store. Like we've got to do a demo here. And like our family would stand there and do a demo.
Wow. Man, you know what?
Now that I say it out loud.
No. Vivian has probably gotten to go to Expo West, which is such such a high demand hot ticket item, and she's already gotten to go. That's amazing.
Yes, she is a swag collector from Expo West for sure.
Yes.
I like that. Literally it like melts my heart when I hear people talk about the way that they are willing to like what's the word? I don't know, honor their caretaker, like their children's childcare people, because it's such an important part. Like, I think I love Amy Poehler's podcast, and I think somebody had on her podcast, she said, like, I'll never forget, I was at an award show when you were honored, and the first person you thanked was your nannies. And it was like so heartwarming because it's like, we have to acknowledge that they're there and they're such a big part. And like giving her equity, that's like one of the coolest things I think I've heard so far on this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, really love that.
Yeah, you think about it, they spend more time with like their teachers and nannies than she did with me for so many years. And so like I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay, well, speaking of being a mom, and you had a lot of success up until Partake, how has like the way that you've led pre-mom and now that you're a mom and now you're 11 years in, like how has that changed the way you look at leading a company, especially being a mom, a female? We've had a lot of female, obviously moms too on here, but it's interesting hearing how some really like let that mom role integrate into their way that they're talking, they're leading, they're willing to have their kids in their offices, and that's just like who they are. They're making it very clear to people that this is what they're doing, and the others are a little bit more separate. So how has that changed the way that you've led?
Momming hard at all times, fortunately or unfortunately. I think I remember two bosses that I had at Coke who really instilled for me like this, like I had this deep level of respect for the way that they showed up as like these powerhouse business women that were also moms. I remember one came to visit for a business trip in New York and she brought her 10-year-old daughter with her. And like the daughter came with us to the meeting. I was like, this is so cool. And I remember another boss who would be like, okay, well, I can't do calls between this time because I do school pickup, but she would be working till the wee hours of the morning. So like things were getting done. And so I think seeing examples throughout my career of ways people could integrate that for me felt like a more natural. Like I remember we had an all team once and this was after we didn't have like any childcare and my husband was traveling for work and Vivi was like getting over a cold, but like couldn't go to school that day or something. Anyway, I brought her to the all team and like, I just like, but I would also let any of my other team members do the same. I don't think it's like special privilege because I'm like the CEO. It's like, you have a whole life and the only way you're going to show up as your best self here is if stuff is taken care of at home. And so if I can help make that easier or like more able to be done, for lack of better words, then like I think it just benefits me as a business owner. I think it's the right thing to do as a human being. I don't know.
I mean, I would imagine that the people that you work for see that in you all day long and that they want to emulate that themselves. So I think that's an amazing example that you've put in front. Okay, what do you want? Is Vivi, is that her nickname? Yeah.
Yep.
What do you want Vivi to understand about the company, like when she's old enough to really get it? And it sounds like she might be. Like, would you want to encourage her to like run her own business and like, you know, run after something that she's really passionate about like you have, or what's your thought there?
Her to feel like she can do whatever she wants. I don't want her to feel like she needs to work at a big company or be a business owner or do whatever. I want her to do whatever her heart desires. But also, she's like getting ready for middle school, and I read one of her essays the other day, and it says the perfect career for me is starting my own brand. I think this would be a great career. One of those reasons is that my mom has her own brand called Partake Foods that she started for me, and like she goes on and on. It's like amazing how like one, she's getting to that age where she thinks I'm very cringe. So it's not like she's like always like singing my praises, but which is why I had to take a picture of this. I think for her to see, and she wrote so much about like sacrifice and perseverance. And so like the thing I like about that she gets to see me being a business owner is that she gets to see that it's not all like Instagram photo shoots and like that. It's like hard decisions and like taking up a large part of life. And you know, whether or not she wants to do that is her choice, and I will just be supportive of her for whatever she wants to do.
Well, I can't wait to see what brand she creates. That's so fun. Vivi's brand is going to be fire. I love it.
So interesting, because I would imagine, you know, you hear this in other people's careers, like, would you want your kids to have to, because you've clearly been through a lot of ups and downs, right? Like, you're right. It's not just photo shoots, and you're still like, no, don't do it. Like, startup entrepreneur, like, it's the worst, you know, like, startup and founders, they can sometimes get like, you know, movies sometimes make it seem so crazy. And I know there's been really hard times, but it's lovely that you're just like, no, go for it. And then that she wants to do it. That's like best case scenario. Because my daughters, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and sometimes my girls will say that they don't want kids. And I'm like, do I not make it look great? My oldest one is like, I think I just want one, mom. And I'm like, I don't think I'm doing good. I don't think I'm doing a good enough job making this look fun.
I feel like they also go up and down. My dad was an entrepreneur, and I would be like, I would never do this. And I was like, I want to go work a corporate job. But then something pulled me in. So, you know, who knows?
I think that's amazing. I really do. Okay, well, speaking of entrepreneurship, what advice would you give? I know that's kind of a broad question, to somebody who's interested and doesn't, you know, thinks it is sometimes just photo shoots and picking colored boxes or whatever. And then specifically like a mom, because I think what's really cool about what we've learned during this podcast is like, it is literally never too late. Moms are superheroes. So many founders we've spoken with, and not just founders, but people who've made career pivots. It's something mom focused. They like read something, they heard something, they saw something. It's just like, it's wild to me how incredible we are, because being a mom is sometimes, it is the hardest thing, and it's when our plate is the most full. And so many women we speak to, that's when they go off and start things, and it's crazy. You really wouldn't think that. So I guess what advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about it, but is nervous and has 2 kids or a kid at home or wants to have kids? What would you offer them?
A few things come to mind. I think one you already said, which is it's never too late. Like, I feel like we've all seen like so many stories of like the best things coming post motherhood, post 45, post 55.
Yeah, I know.
I think for me, like I needed the reminder that it's okay to start small. I feel like you see these like very big, fancy, glamorized versions of things, and you didn't see like the grind for the first few years. And so like those are the years where like so much of your resilience is built. Those are the years where you learn so much. So like it's okay to start small, I think is something that comes up for me.
Yeah.
And like I think for me, just like talking to as many people as possible, learning as much as you can. I think oftentimes people want to talk to like the shiniest, like, oh, they just sold their company for $1 bazillion. I swear you learn just as much from the conversation from the person who had to shut their business down after 10 years of blood, sweat, and tears. And so I think just like trying to get as much insight for me as possible, just to like learn what you do want to do or you don't want to do, and things to watch out for, et cetera, like has been really helpful.
Yeah. We found, I mean, just through you being a perfect example, Denise, people are so generous with their like experiences and their advice and whatnot. And I've just learned so much from listening to people. And so I think that's an amazing, amazing piece of advice. So
I think you make a really good point, because it's like, even if you can't get on the phone with that person, like I feel like like there's like free mentorship by listening to podcasts and just like consuming information to learn more about whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I find we've talked about this before, like how hard isn't bad and like we're allowed to do hard. But it is interesting how I do think even the world we live in right now, everything is kind of like the shiny box at the end of the journey. Like we don't really want to glorify the journey. And I don't know, so many people on here that we've talked with talk a lot about the journey. Like it's really important. It's where you grow. It's where like Lucy and I are on a journey with this. Like we're growing. It's hard. It's different. Like, I don't know. That's such an important piece. And then motherhood too, you know, like the end of the day,
it's
like
a journey.
Yeah, like the end of college is going to be a really pretty picture, but my goodness gracious, the journey is like wild to get there. And so we don't always want to talk about the lows of the parenting. Like sometimes the stay-at-home mom piece of this podcast, I can kind of be a little like, not complainer, but a little negative about my days. But like the journey matters. Like it really matters that not every day is like being a stay-at-home mom. Not every day is like cute little matching outfits and ponytails and girls like doing everything I want them to do. So anyway, I just think that that's so important.
And the word I'm taking from you, Denise, that you mentioned is resilient, because I do think like that is a common theme, whether you're parenting all day like Sam is, or you're working, or you're trying to start a podcast. Like Sam and I sometimes are just like, we just need to outlast the other people. We just need to like
literally like survival of the fittest. I picture one of those dolls that like you knock down and it pops back up. Like I think that's how you get there. And if not, you learn like so much on that, like getting knocked back down, like knocked down and getting back up again.
Totally. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So last big question. Then we have we love a rapid fire, Denise, because we think it's really fun. Who knows if anyone else thinks it's fun? We just think it's fun. So we keep doing it.
But
I love listening to rapid fire. I love listening to other people rapid fire.
Okay.
But it gives me so much anxiety. So I'm like excited, but nervous.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Last big question. We all have girls. Sam has a lot of girls. I just have one. Sam's got them just tumbling out of her condo in New York. But
yeah,
Vivi's a little older than our girls, and we're both scared and excited about these older years. So I'm just curious, like I'm convinced every age gets better. Like I was on the baby phase, there was a lot of stress and anxiety there. And I love this, although I equated my daughter to a wind-up doll yesterday, because literally we were checking out at Trader Joe's and the lady checking us out was like, "Oh, what's your dog's name?" And I was like, "No, here we go." And literally we're standing there, like there's a line of people, and she's like, "This is my dog named Jet Pup, and my mom sent her to me in the mail, and my brother got this one," and like just would not stop. And the lady's looking at me like, "Is she ever gonna stop?" And I was like, she's not. So I hear her right now. They're taking their bath. She's not stopped talking since we've been on here. So it is incredible. But all this to say, this phase for me is so much fun in comparison to baby phase. So what should we be either scared of or looking forward to with this like kind of preteen era that you're entering?
I think that the thing that you should be aware of is like they start to get problems that you can't just fix, which is like really challenging. Like the come home from school and like there's like some sort of drama and you can like talk them through it, but you also can't you can't get the information like fully from them. And so like that part is challenging because I'm a control freak and I like to fix things and I want everyone to be like pleased and happy. And so like that part is challenging. And I think that's only going to intensify. But I agree with you that every age gets more fun. Like she's like a whole human now. Like I can like literally like her, like on her birthday, she didn't want to have a party. She was like, let's go to sushi and then let's go shopping and let's go. Like, I was like, like we're the same. I'm 40 something and you do the same, right? And so like that part is really fun because like you like, I don't know, she has so much personality and I feel like I learned so much from her. And so that part is fabulous. But the whole like they start to like not need you as much and have like things that you can't like just put a Band-Aid on is like a little terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Mhm. Denise, I'm 3 days into my oldest daughter being at sleepaway camp for the first time, and I'm more unwell than I ever thought. I'm not handling it well. And I'm like the first to be like, I deserve a break from my kids. I'm going to go on a trip. But that's me leaving. That's not my kid leaving. And I cannot get over this. Like, what did she eat today? What pajamas did she wear? Like, it's just like, what is she doing? And she's not even telling me. And it's day 3. And it is like, the weirdest feeling. And people kept telling me they don't need you. And I'm like, I don't want to have to get my 3-year-old a snack anymore. I can't wait for her to not need me to get her a snack. But this is a different level. This is what people are talking about. Like, they really don't need you. And it's weird. It's weird. So
She's going to have the best time, but it is like, oh.
I know.
I don't know. Denise, we can take this offline. I was always scared of summer camp, and I came home 3. My parents reminded me last night. I was like, was it twice I came home early? And they were like, nope, 3 times. Like, they
Really?
homesick, Denise, which is really, I don't feel that now. Like, I really feel like I've grown out of it, but it was a deep feeling. So Sam sending her daughter to this camp, I've also been unwell. I'm like, is she gonna be okay? Like, I don't know. And then Sam sends a picture of her. She's like, I think
So
she's
happy.
good.
Yeah,
I mean, I've
she's
never
so
seen
happy.
this child happier. I've never seen her
Happier.
with a bigger smile.
I know.
So,
I was
She
a
don't need
homesick
us.
kind of kid too, so I never went to sleepaway camp. Vivi hasn't gone yet. Her friends are away right now, and she's like,
Yeah.
"No, I want no parts of it." And like, part of me wants to like push her, but part of me's like, "No,
Yeah.
just stay home with me
yeah,
longer."
no,
Yeah.
I'm with
Yeah.
Vivi. I don't think she needs
Yeah.
to go. So,
Well, it's definitely, I
gosh.
know you said you were from New York. It's so much more of a thing out here.
Yes.
I'm from the Midwest. And so it just wasn't a thing. I mean, maybe you would go like a week to a sports
Yeah.
camp, but here it's like this whole part of their life. Like, it's a culture
Yes.
in the summer. And so when I would tell people out here that my daughter is going to sleepaway camp, they're like, oh, cool. Which one? And then I tell my friends back home in Indiana or like in the South, and they're like, what?
Why
How
would
are
you?
you doing that? Yeah.
Why?
But here it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, that sounds about right. She's going into 3rd grade, but it's a wild. I'm on edge. I'm going to be talking about it for 3 weeks. We just met, and I'm already telling you about it because I'm so
I hope she
unwell.
has a fabulous time, and I hope that you get through it just fine.
Yeah, I'm
She
going
will.
to.
Oh,
Okay, so we are going to do just a little fun rapid fire to end it. I would love for you to actually maybe give me 1 or 2 more, because not just one thing. We love to ask people what their non-negotiables are for the week for yourself. Like, what do you have to do for yourself? So maybe you could rapid fire like 3 or 4 things. If there
Things I
is one.
have to do.
If there's only one,
non-negotiable.
great. But if you want to explain and not have to just be like tennis.
I have to go on like walks. Like, I either do like a walk and talk, or like at the
Mhm.
end of the day, but like I have to like be outside, like walking around, getting my steps in, getting some nature. I love to cook, so I have to make some sort of like big meal, whether it's like usually it's like Sunday dinner, but sometimes it's Saturday. But at some point I have to make like a proper, like very nice, like it just brings me more joy than anyone dinner. And I have to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every day.
those
This
are
is the
good.
best. I know.
So good.
I like love 7-8 hours of sleep.
I'm going to shoot for that tonight. Now it's already in
Yeah.
my mind. I'm like, what is it going to take? It's going to take a lot for me. I'm not a great sleeper, Denise, but I'm really going to try for it tonight.
Magnesium, a good
Ugh.
book, and I just
Oh,
out like a
we're out.
light.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Okay, what's your favorite Partake product that almost didn't make it to shelf?
Graham crackers, that's what I wanted to launch with, but it's really hard to like have the equipment. And when we first launched, we didn't have the money to invest in equipment, and so we couldn't make graham crackers. But finally, we were able to make them. We launched them in the summer of 2023, and it was because I wanted kids who had food allergies to be able to have s'mores and to do all the like summer camp things that like if you have allergies you can't participate in. So they're my favorite product, and they almost didn't happen because we had to invest in a ton of capex to be able to make graham crackers. Who knew?
Oh,
Who knew?
that's a great
A
one.
graham cracker. Okay, so if you have a random Tuesday off in the middle of the week, what are you doing?
I don't know that that's happened to me like ever, but I can tell you that I would go for
What
a
do you
walk
want
at the
to do?
beach. Oh, I would go for a long walk at the beach. I would go sit and have coffee by myself. I would read a book. I would watch TV. I would watch some like Netflix, Apple TV
Yes.
show. I'm watching Friends and Neighbors right now.
Oh, so
I
good.
would like cook a nice meal, enjoy that with my family, and kind of do a lot of like nothing, just slow meandering. I would picture like myself being like the barefoot Contessa or something like that, living my best soft life.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
That
gonna
sounds
throw you for a
magical.
loop and ask you what book you're reading because I've recently started to read.
We've been
and
doing
you
this
said
too long, Sam. I was going to say the same thing.
you did? Okay, because you've
Let's go.
mentioned books twice, and I finally decided to get back to reading on my phone, and I am like crushing through books farther. I was like, no, I will not do it. And now I'm just like, I've been able to read like 5 books this year, which that's a lot
That's
for me.
impressive. That's a lot,
Okay.
I think.
Okay, sometimes people are like, oh, I read like 50 a year. And I'm like, I read like 1 a year. So 5
Same.
halfway through the year is like really, I'm very
really
proud of
good.
myself. But are you reading something right now?
I'm reading it, but I'm listening to it on my walks, and I'm listening to The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz from Andreessen Horowitz, the venture capital fund. And he talks
Really
about
good
this
book.
company that he IPO'd, and it almost went bankrupt 16 times. And I was like, who knew what the journey could bring for people?
Yeah, that's a really good
okay.
book. I really liked that
Okay.
one. All right, and this is Sam. I'm going to let you finish on your favorite question because
I
you
know
always
I
throw
love
it in
this
there.
one. And I love that you love to cook because I can't stand it. What's your favorite weeknight family meal? Because it's such a struggle for me.
I wish we had more we don't mix it up that much. Like we do Taco
Yeah.
Tuesdays. Wednesday, the farmer's market is open. So we usually do like some sort of fish from the farmer's market. We go out to dinner on Fridays. I make some big fancy thing on Sunday. We don't have a lot of variety in our life, but like seems to be fine.
I like that.
Yeah, it works.
We love
so
a
that's how
taco
we
night.
are. We kind of have like 3 set days and then we kind of figure it out. And I think we've been eating salmon on Mondays for like 5 years and nobody's complained about it. So we just keep eating salmon on
We're
Mondays.
salmon on Wednesdays family over here. So I completely understand.
No one likes salmon in this house.
No one likes it in this house either, but we eat salmon on Wednesdays.
Oh my gosh, that's literally amazing. And that was
my
it,
God.
Denise. The rapid fire was
so
not as scary.
fun. Oh, that
not
was
as
like
scary
a
as it needed
good
to be.
conversational rapid fire. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for your time, for your insights, for your products. We love Partake in our house. So wishing you all the success and a wonderful end to your summer.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you.